Wherever there's an episodic series, you can bet two men will talk to you. AJ Talon and Owen Finch give their thoughts on Owen and AJ Talks.
Hey.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Avatar: The Last Airbender, the Northern Air Temple review. This is Season 1/Book 1, Episode 17. Episode 17 of 61, AJ. We got 61 episodes still to do, sort of, so.
Yeah, so we're almost a third done.
Yep. You're probably wondering, if you didn't watch yesterday's video, or, if you skipped out halfway through it type of thing. You were like, wait, didn't you guys say you were gonna do two episodes of one? Well, we ended up talking longer than we wanted to about the DeSoto, so that's why this is its own video now and everything like that. AJ, it's almost like I said I told you so. I remember I said it was gonna be two videos. I'm like, nah, we could get that all done in one video, and you ended up being like dead ass wrong. Hey, not as wrong as I am with the Star Wars trivia stuff or the Pokemon trivia stuff. So not that one, but still pretty wrong. So, but yeah, I'm Owen Finch. Yeah, but I'm Owen. I'm Owen Finch, and I'm here with
AJ Talent. Third time's the charm. Yep, and then like you said, we are here reviewing the final episode of Book 1, Water, before the North Pole. And I do like this. Like we did complain a little bit that before at the beginning of the season, you could see less and less snow as they're moving, away from the South Pole. And then this is kind of the only real hint that we're actually close to the North Pole now.
Yeah.
Because if you were Southern Air Temple was right after they left the South Pole, and now we're at the Northern Air Temple, so therefore we got to be close to the North Pole.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I still obviously would have liked the characters themselves to actually talk about it, because I think Book 2 fixes that issue where when they were talking about traveling to Boston Say and everything like that, you got a whole episode where they were going to Boston Say, and then I think the episode before they actually go inside the city is them dealing with the drills. So I kind of wish we actually had
it really feels like progress is being made, whereas here it really just does feel like, I mean, I get it, it's the whole other side of the world, but yeah, there really isn't a good idea of progress, And it's just kind of all right, we'll just get there when we get there.
Yeah. But yeah, let's, go through all the wiki stuff and everything like that. AJ, you get to guess the episode air date, so let's hope you remember from yesterday.
Yeah, I believe the last one was October 21st, 2005. Unless they decided to fuck me over and have a 2-week break for some reason, this one should be October 28th, 2005.
They took a 2-week break, AJ. They took a 2-week break.
Of course they did. Those fuckers. Again, they saw into the future. They're like, all right, listen, 21 years from now, there's this guy, right? He's going to guess the air date. We got to take a week break just to...
And I'm the opposite. I'll guess that, and then they don't. I think I guessed that twice in the Dragon Ball video, and they didn't take a 2-week break like I thought.
Yeah, they did and they didn't. Yeah.
So, it's with the Japanese version, anyways. The American version, I'm wondering if they would do that because it's already out. So,
yeah.
But yeah, the air date, AJ, is November 4th, 2005. So they took a 2-week break. So, this episode was written by Elizabeth Welch. Ehas, first episode is her first appearance. She, but she's written other episodes of Avatar. She's going to be writing the Avatar State, Return to Amashu. She wrote Zuko Alone, which is pretty cool.
That's a good one.
Appa's Lost Days, she wrote that episode. She wrote the Avatar and the Fire Lord. She wrote the Western Air Temple, and she wrote the Southern Raiders. And she was story editor for the Tales of Boston Say, which probably wasn't an easy episode to do a story editor for, because what didn't you say there was a different writer for every tale, so that probably wasn't easy.
Yeah.
This episode was directed by Dave Foley or Dave Finoli, whatever his name is. Say his name again.
Dave Filoni.
We've talked about him a bunch.
I think he stops working on the show after book 1. So like we're almost at the end anyway.
Yeah, so I don't have to say that name anymore. The animation company that did this was DR Movie. And we have some guest stars here. We have Daniel Simones, voices Tio. He does other voice work. He does Avatar. He's been on other TV shows. Apparently, he was on Hannah Montana. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, he played Miley Cyrus, of course.
Yeah. He's in Wizards of Waverly Place. He's in Zoe 101. He's in iCarly. So when they signed up to a Nickelodeon contract, he went everywhere, I guess. So, and
a lot of them.
Huh?
Well, I mean, like half of those are Disney.
Oh, that's true. Well, I was saying Zoe 101. Yeah. Well, Zoe 101 and iCarly. So,
Wizards and so.
Yeah. And then, filmography. He's done some films. He was in Brothers Keeper. He was in My Struggle. He's in 3 The Hard Way. I don't know what that's some type of short movie that he's in. That's that's something. Other things, he's in some AJ. He's actually it says here he did some stuff with the Final Fantasy video games. He's in Final Fantasy whatever XIII is, and with Final Fantasy versus X. Huh?
12.
Yeah, so he's in Final Fantasy 12, and he's in Final Fantasy versus 12. What the hell does that mean? Did the game face itself?
That's enough.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's cool. That's funny because, like I said to Owen, I was just playing Final Fantasy VI today, so
then,
I haven't played.
Yeah, and then Renee Jonas voices the mechanist / the inventor, and we've talked about him before. He's in the Great Divide. I assume he's probably the Earthbender in the Great Divide, if I had to guess. No, he's the leader in the Great Divide. He's the the Gain Jin, the Gon Jin leader. So,
yeah, actually, that did sound like him. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then he obviously shows back up again. Let's see, other television work. He's in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. He's in The Legend of Tarzan. That's apparently, I didn't know that was a TV show, but apparently there's a TV show. He's in The Cat Returns for a movie. Maybe that should be The Cat Returns.
That's a Ghibli movie.
Oh, okay.
They get Totoro and all that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's cool. He's in Burning Down the House. He's in Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. He's in Uncharted 2 Among Thieves video games. And then we're not gonna do like the storyteller or the I think the other voice actor that makes a guest appearance is supposed to be like that Fire Nation leader. They're not worth reading their wikis. We're not gonna read them.
They're kind of just background characters.
Yeah. But yeah, let's just get right into the episode. You're gonna start off talking about the notes.
Starts with, like I said, we start off, as these episodes often do, where Angsuk and Qatar are making camp. But this one's a little different than usual. They are kind of in the a snowy mountain area. Again, this is kind of like the first indication that they're starting to get close to the North Pole. Like I said, it would have been nice if we got a little more signs before this point, but hey, better late than never. And they are just, alone, sitting around. They are around some other presumable, hikers and travelers. Sitting around a campfire, and this old man is telling stories of, airbenders. And he's like, oh my God, my great grandpappy saw the fucking airwalkers. They were 50 feet tall, and they breathed fire, and they had teeth made out of cheese, and they fucking, flop their dicks around like goddamn helicopters. That's how they flew.
I think he had a different joke yesterday, but unfortunately, I
couldn't remember.
Yeah.
But again, that's he's like, you should have fucking seen it. It was crazy.
This guy totally sounds like stoner vibes type of thing.
Yeah.
Probably doing some of that with Chet, and everything like that too.
Yeah, that's where he's gone off to. He's just traveling around giving everybody some weed. Excuse me. Aang is happy to hear people talking about his people. You know, and like it is interesting how the airbenders are kind of considered like myths now. Well, they're not myths; like people know they existed, but you know, it's been 100 years since they went extinct, and even before that point, you know, they were kind of secluded. You know, they kind of just lived in the temples, far away from everybody else, and you know, people would only see them if they were kind of just going out, you know, on their own. So even before they went extinct, it was probably pretty rare to see them.
Yeah,
so I like.
if I had to make a comparison, I would say it's like, really weirdly enough, it's like the Amish, even though the Amish is a little less of an example. But, you know, people kind of go to Pennsylvania and stuff just to, like, see the Amish people and everything like that.
Like people will know what they are, but, like, you know, you gotta kind of go out of your way to see them.
Yeah.
So, you know, Aang is happy to hear people talking stories, you know, and about his culture, and he goes up to the guy. Well, the guy is actually going around with his hat and like collecting money from the, you know, for telling his stories.
Yeah.
And then they do a funny joke where Sokka doesn't have any money. But yeah, Aang goes up to him after, and he's like, "Oh wow, you know, thank you so much for the story. You know, it was great to hear. I'm sure your you know, your great grandfather must have seen it, you know, 100 years ago." And he's like, "What are you talking about? My great grandfather just saw it like last week."
And, you know, if you look at his, I mean, obviously, if it was anyone other than Nate, if you look at his grandfather, I don't think anyone would have bought that story. He's like, yeah, this guy totally saw Airbenders like last week, totally. But I did like that they did a funny joke where, you know, because the guy kept asking for money, he like put his hat out when Aang went to say like he liked the stories, and like one of the coins fell out, and like Momo put it back in, so he thought like Aang paid him, which was pretty funny. So
yeah, I like that. So, you know, Aang is ecstatic to hear this because remember, you know, at the Southern Air Temple when, you know, they discovered the air nomads wiped out. You know, Aang pretty much said like if they got here, then they must have gotten the other air temples as well. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I guess that means that I'm the last airbender. You know, so, you know, again, Aang was under the assumption that the other air temples got hit, but hearing this, he's like, oh shit. Maybe some survived, and you know, maybe the Northern Temple's okay.
They'd have to change the name of the show. You know, that'd be very misleading.
The kind of, sort of, but not really the last kind of, sort of, but not really Airbender.
I guess, yeah. So,
but I think I said it in the Southern Air Temple. But it is a little crazy that like all of them got wiped out because remember they're nomads. Like they live in the temples, but like. A lot of them do kind of just like travel the world.
Yeah, so
like you know, like I feel like they're probably the hardest nation to wipe out, just because like a lot of them don't stay at the temple.
Yeah, maybe like maybe someone just died of old age or whatever type of thing, and the Fight Nation's going to take credit for that type of thing.
I did so, yeah.
Yeah.
Although, like I said, there's actually a comic set during where Aang gets lured by Zhao to like a location where he thinks airbenders might be staying out, and Zhao basically explains that like the anyone who survived like we basically like we trick them into thinking that some other air nomads might be nearby with like relics in them.
Oh, okay.
So I mean I do like that a spin-off comic did like address that, but that is something I wish the show kind of went into a bit.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. You know, Aang's excited to, you know, they're gonna go check out the Northern Air Temple. You know, flying there on Appa the next morning, and you know, Katara's excited. You know, she's like, "Oh, that's great, Aang. You know, you might be some you know, you might not be the last airbender. Some of your people might still be alive." And Sokka, of course, you know, is kind of the skeptic. Wait, he says he's a realist. He's like, "Yeah, I wouldn't get your hope." And you know, I like how Katara's like, they do a funny joke where she's like, "Oh, what? Do you think I'm like stupid or something?" And he's like, "No, I just think you're an optimist." But you know, same thing.
Yeah, I like that Sokka was doing something. Like he was like carving something as he was doing this, which is kind of, like I like that they're actually like doing. They're not just sitting around just talking.
Something like I you know, because like being on Appa all the time, I would be so bored. You know, like the first couple times, wow, look at the view. But after like doing this shit for like 2. I would just be fucking so bored.
Yeah, no Switch or nothing either, you know? Yeah.
Again, this is like, fucking like ancient times where it's like you can't just pull out your switch on a plane.
Yeah, no, unfortunately not. No charge. I mean, you probably run out eventually because no chargers or nothing. So.
Just plug plug your phone charger in the opposite. Again, you know what? Once they get Zuko, and if Zuko could generate lightning, that'd be great. Hey Zuko, can you charge my?
Yeah, he obliterates it.
Yeah, I can see that. He's like, oh, okay, well, fucking, there we go. Light. Yeah, they see the Northern Air Temple, and they see people flying around on gliders. Katara and Sokka are like, oh my god, Aang, that's great. There's there's other airbenders. I guess we got to change the name of the show. But Aang pretty much at a glance realizes what's up. He kind of slumps over and he's pissed off. He's like, no, those aren't airbenders. You could tell by the way they're flying. They're not like that makes sense for Aang to be able to pick that up. Is that from an outsider POV, it's like, oh, they're flying. That must mean they're airbenders. But Aang can kind of tell the way they're doing it. They're not bending the air, they're not using bending to do it.
Yeah.
And Aang even says no, the way they're flying is different. They have no they don't have that airbender spirit.
Yeah, which I like that he said that.
Being with machines, so it makes sense that they don't have as an airbender.
Yeah. And you said that Aang was pissed off. I don't really think Aang was pissed when he saw it. He was more disappointed than pissed off.
Yeah. He looked a little insulted, I guess.
Yeah.
But like you said, he looks disappointed. But then all of a sudden, this one kid goes flying by, and he's laughing and having a great time. Kind of reminds me, they definitely write him to be similar to Aang, and they even make him kind of look like Aang. He has the same face structure and the same eyes.
Yeah, for sure.
Funny, they do a similar thing in Appa's Lost Days, where the little Fire Nation kid.
Yeah. He looks like Aang. Yeah.
Or they give him the same face and eyes as Aang, and he's even voicing Aang, voice actor. Obviously not Teo, but I'm saying that kid. So I'm saying this isn't the first. This isn't the last time they do, where they try to make a parallel with another kid and Aang.
Yeah, I think that's kind of cool. They do that.
Yeah, similar people and all. Because that's going to be a big thing throughout this episode is Teo. He's not an airbender, but he has an airbender spirit.
Mm-hmm.
So, they make him similar to Aang. And, Katarian says, hey, that kid looks like he's got plenty of spirit. So Aang, again, is a little insulted by this, or, disappointed. So he kind of wants to, prove how an airbender really does it. So he hops off on his glider and starts flying around. They kind of just start, doing tricks and flying around each other, having a little competition. And Teo's kind of laughing, having a good time. And he's like, oh, hey, you're pretty good. And I do like this, where, almost there. Aang, like I said, he's a little insulted, because, normally Aang would be like, oh, hey, thanks, you too. But no, Aang is like, no, yeah, I know I'm good. And it's but, I can do more than just glide like you. And then Aang, hops off his glider and gets on the air scooter. And this is cool, where he, runs alongside the side of the wall.
Yeah, this was cool.
Kind of reminds me of a thing he does later, where he, goes up the wall in Bossing Day.
Yeah, that was cool, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think he can do that, forever. I think he kind of, uses the momentum of the air scooter. I don't think he could just fucking, pull a Spider-Man, all day, every day. He only...
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but, he does that, and he's like, hey, what do you think of that, kid? And Teo's like, well, I can't do that, but I can do something else that's pretty cool. And he pulls out a little compartment in his chair, and it releases smoke, and he kind of just, starts flying around. And he basically made Aang's face in the clouds. And it was Aang really disappointed, and then it cuts back to Aang. He's making the same face.
Yeah, that was funny.
And I was like, hey, what do you think of that? And Aang's like, oh, yeah, no, right. And I do like this, where everybody else on the in the temple is yelling, yeah, go Teo, show that bald kid how it's done. So you get the impression that Teo's pretty popular, amongst this group of people.
And I like that Teo's not brash or anything like that. Even though they're kind of having a little competition, it's kind of like a friendly
Well,
competition.
yeah, Aang is trying to prove he's better, but like Teo's just having a good time.
Yeah, so I like that Tail's not like, because I feel like typical shows would have made Tail just like a huge jerk and everything like that. Thinks he's better than everyone else. So I like that Tail's actually like just kind of genuine, just having a good time type of thing.
And yeah, I think the thing is like he's how Aang would be if Aang wasn't getting like upset that people are like appropriating his culture is the kind of thing. Like this is how you expect Aang to be normally. But yeah, they land on the ground, and I do like this where because again, you didn't get a good look at the other people flying, so you might think this chair is like, oh, they need this chair is for the glider, but no, some people come up and like take the glider off the chair, and then you see, oh, it's a wheelchair, so like this kid can't walk.
No, he can't. He can fly. He can fly, but he can't walk. So.
Well, hey, it sounds like a challenge. Just push the kid off the fucking edge with a glider. It's like, all right, kid, have fun.
Imagine someone forgets to put the glider on his tail, like.
Yeah, and they're like I forgot. Oh fuck! they kind of do a similar thing in a Zelda game where it's like the prequel where they all live in the Sky Islands, and Link his Loftwing got kidnapped, but Zelda doesn't realize it, so she like pushes him off, expecting his like bird to like come pick him up, and he's just like, holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck. Hey,
you can take the Toy Story method though. He doesn't have to fly; he can just fall with style.
Yeah, exactly. He's falling with style. To infinity and beyond. But yeah, they land, and Teo realizes like now that he's got a closer look that like Aang is an airbender. He realizes like, oh shit, you're the Avatar. And I do like that. He's like, oh, I've heard stories about you. Like, you're awesome. And I do like this. Aang was again kind of like not giving the kid any credit before. But now that he's like complimenting him, and kind of just like smiles a little bit. And he's like, "Yeah, thanks." Like it's kind of like Aang softened up a little bit.
Yeah,
like basically, like he's not like 100% okay with the kid, but now he's kind of like, okay, he doesn't seem like a bad guy. Like I won't shit talk him too much.
Yeah.
And yeah, they basically, sorry, go ahead.
I'll let you continue, and then I'll give my thoughts.
Yeah, I'm just wrapping it up. Don't worry, I only want a couple minutes over. But yeah, basically, Sokka, I do like this where Sokka immediately like looks at the gliders and he's like, "Oh my god, wow, this looks incredible." And he's like, "Yeah, my dad invented it." And they're like, "Oh, cool. What's your dad's name?" He's like, "The Mechanist." Like, no, but what's his name? The Mechanist. No, his name, the Mechanist. But yeah,
we can add his dad. We can add Teal's dad's name to the name of people who don't get names. So
he who shall not be named.
I'm not going to do it yet though, because we did this with Lieutenant. After what happened with Lieutenant G, I'm not falling for that anymore. So
we're going to go book 3 where he shows up again. But yeah, he's like, oh hey, you're gonna love the stuff my dad did, like temple. I can show you how much changed in the last 100 years. And again, I like that he's like again like all excited to meet Aang, and he's like, "Oh, cool! Let me show you around. I'll give you a tour." And also, I like that Sokka's the one to take interest in the gliders, because we've seen that before. Well, actually, no, this might be our first time really seeing that, like Sokka's love for like. Well, we know he's like a realist, and he like has appreciation for like science, but I think this might be our first time seeing his like appreciation for like inventions.
Yeah, which I think is pretty cool. I kind of like that Sokka like showed the interest. Yeah, I liked all the stuff here. I like that we got to see like, kind of stuff like with the glider and everything like that. We really didn't get anything like that in Avatar. This is the only episode we really kind of get anything on that, where like you get to kind of see like a lot of stuff like up in the sky, and like Aang doing stuff with gliding and everything like that. So it's kind of cool they did something with that.
Yeah,
and I like I like the fact that we went to one of the other air temples. We went to the northern temple now, so that's cool.
Yeah, because I do like that. We're gonna. It's kind of setting the precedent that we're probably gonna see all the air temples.
Yeah.
And you might just assume, oh, we just saw the south one because that's where Aang's from. But it's like, no, with this, it's probably we're going to see the others as well.
Yeah. And, I like that, Tio wasn't like I said, like a jerk. I like that he showed interest in Aang and everything like that, and Aang kind of finally opened up to him a little bit. But you could kind of see that Aang's feeling a little off about this. And he kind of doesn't love what's going on with the temple, and you're gonna get that really more so in the next scene, as I'll talk about. But yeah, let's talk about the next scene. So they go inside the temple, and obviously Taylor's really excited to show Aang this because obviously Aang was here originally, or probably visited here. When like it was full with airbenders and everything like that. Taylor's kind of excited to show Aang this, to see like all the improvements they made to it and everything like that. And yeah, Aang kind of comes in and it's a completely different world. I think this helps because we saw like the Southern Air Temple was really abandoned, but that how that looked, and we've seen like flashbacks of it. We kind of get the vibe of what an air temple's like supposed to look like. But now when Aang comes in, it's like a completely different world. Like it's kind of a factory for the most part. They have like people kind of going up on like an elevator and everything like that. There's like pipes going around. They kind of mentioned, they're using a lot of this stuff for like, to pump gas and oil and everything like that. And, Aang's obviously perplexed about what he sees. He's not really thrilled about it or anything like that. He kind of sees like there's pipes connected, and then they've kind of redid it over like the history of his people and everything like that, which obviously is like an ancient artifact. Aang's obviously upset that, they kind of built over that and everything like that. And
it's a complicated issue of like, because like for me, I love history, and like seeing like historical stuff like destroyed or damaged fucking hurts my soul. So I completely understand where Aang's coming from. Like, this is my history of my people. You're like, ruining it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is also like, that's like the big thing of the episode is like how much is preservation, how much it is like, how much can we get rid of progress?
Yeah. Sokka's really impressed by all this stuff, which I think, kind of show. I like that because it showed that contrast. And at one point, Aang kind of makes a line saying that like, wow, this is really something. He's like, yeah, it's great, isn't it? And Aang's like, no, I didn't say it was. I didn't say that, but this is just a lot type of thing. Aang's still kind of trying to process it and everything like that. And Katara's kind of trying to like, talk to Tio, say like, look, Aang didn't really expect to see like this, like really different and everything like that. And then he goes to like the wall of his people and sees that that's been done over. And I like this where Tio's like, huh?
I was gonna say real quick, I do like seeing, because up until now we've really only seen Fire Nation be like advanced, because like technology wise, the Fire Nation are kind of like 1800s. Like they got coal and they got like they clearly went through like an industrial revolution.
Yeah.
Whereas the other nations are like way behind. They're like fucking Middle Ages.
But
this
yeah,
is the first time we're seeing other people besides the Fire Nation using like steam and shit like that.
Yeah, I like that. And Tio kind of tries to make Aang feel better, like, hey, I think there's one part of the temple that still looks the same. And they go over and they see like one of the monks is still like obviously fine, like well preserved and everything like that. And Aang's kind of happy to see that. But then during all this, we hear like a big commotion go down, and one of the guys says, "Look out!" And they take a wrecking ball. Miley Cyrus coming in like a wrecking ball right there. So, and it's still not for a few years. It's just she's still in Hannah Montana and everything like that.
That was until like the 2010s. This is like 2005.
Yeah, but still coming in like a wrecking ball. So, and they destroy the monk. Do you think if the statue was Kyatso? I know it's not actually Kyatso, but do you think it would have survived the wrecking ball, or do you think it was still?
Again, it's like you can't destroy a big metal ball with an even with a smaller big metal ball.
Yeah.
That fucking ball right there isn't even 1/quintillionth of the size of his big old wrecking balls.
You know what sucks? There's probably all these statues of Kyatsos and stuff. I don't even think the people even know the size of his balls. They don't even know, this historical stuff.
By the way, sorry, I forgot to mention it. I think I mentioned it before. but just to like reiterate, the north and south temples are the for the males, and then the east and west are the females.
Yep.
And I don't think they ever said that in the show. It's confirmed in like, but you can kind of see that because like all the statues in the south and north are like male air nomads, and then when we see the east and west, it's all like female statues.
For sure.
Although I think it's funny because if you remember in the storm, they said they're going to send Aang to the Eastern Air Temple. So like Aang would have been like the only guy, in a temple, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I think they can kind of travel to the other, but it's just like typically they try to not like have them live there.
Yeah, makes sense. But yeah, so then obviously we meet the inventor / the mechanist who doesn't have a name for some reason. And but yeah, and it's weird. That one guy, like in like John's crew, like that random background guy, like he got a name, but this guy doesn't get a name for some reason.
Yeah.
And
I mean, are you good old fucking Bushman?
Say that again. You cut out.
I said I can't believe you're gonna insult good old Bushman. Yee. I think it's.
Hey, John Miles got the name, and I just called him the wrong name. So,
well, you know what? I guess you know what? This is our universe, John Miles. Mechanist, you're officially John now.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to give him that name though. That's a pretty insulting. No, because every time we think of him, we'll think of the other guy. We'll think of the. It'll be like the Death Note thing. We'll go to write his name in the Death Note. We'll actually think of the other guy type of thing. So.
Yeah. No. What have we done?
But yeah, so he kind of tells Aang like, hey, don't you know, like when you see a construction site around, and Aang's upset, about the fact that they just went and they destroyed this monument, and the guy's like, well, we're just gonna build in like a bathhouse, which makes sense. They build a bathhouse, obviously, because they mentioned everyone's starting to smell, so it makes sense he would want to solve that problem.
Makes me wonder how long have they been here?
Yeah, they said they would be here a while, like, because they said because as I was saying a second, he mentions they were there like years ago and everything like that. So
yeah, so I guess nobody's just fucking bathed.
Yeah. So Aang's obviously upset that they destroyed this historical monumental like figure, the statue, all for a bathhouse and everything like that. And he's so upset that he airbends the cannonball like completely off the temple and just knocks it completely over. That was the ad break, which I thought made sense. And then when it comes,
I would love if the cabbage guy is at the very bottom of the, and then the lands on his cabbage.
My cabbage is.
Yeah, we haven't seen him in a while. I just realized.
Yeah, I don't think he's coming in until Boston Say. So.
Yeah, I think we're not going to see him again for.
Yeah. So then when it comes back, well, before I cover all that, overall I like this scene. I kind of like that Aang had some peace, seeing that some of the temple was the same. But I like the fact that they kind of went and messed it up. And again, the guy wasn't a bad guy, but Aang just got so upset, that they destroyed like this big monument just to build a bathhouse. And obviously, because Aang was here before, he kind of sees that they're not really respecting like, his culture and everything like that. It was kind of the final straw for him and everything like that. Totally made sense he would react that way. What did you think of this and all that? I thought this was all good.
Yeah, I liked it. I could definitely see Aang being extremely pissed off. Because again, he was already kind of insulted by, they like just, ruined like how the temple was. And them just like continuing to destroy a place that was like a second home to him. And keep in mind for Aang, he didn't feel that 100 years. For him, he was at the Northern Air Temple probably a couple months ago. So to see these people that he doesn't know, just in his mind ruining everything, for their own shit, I could definitely see him being. Because again, it's like it's for him, it's probably even more insulting that they're so dismissive. Where Aang is like, this was so important for my culture. It's been here for so long. This was like, my people's history. And he's just like, yeah, but like we need a bathhouse.
Yeah.
But like he didn't mean it to be insulting, but like the fact that he was so dismissive of it probably even, added to the anger.
Yeah. So then it comes back. And yeah, Ain's really pissed off that the guy did this. And again, the guy doesn't really understand why he's pissed. And also, he's really being real dismissive about it. But then when Teo kind of tells his dad that this is the Avatar, he used to come here years ago. I like this where he kind of and then the inventor slash the mechanist slash John Miles slash Teal's dad slash
Voldemort.
Why not? Why not? Is telling I like that he kind of opens up and sympathizes with it, and then mentions kind of goes through his backstory. And I think I told you this off camera the other day. I forgot there was a backstory of why they were there. Obviously, I knew there was one, but I didn't remember the show said what it was. I always just thought they were there and they didn't really talk about it. But there actually is a backstory. So he kind of mentions that years ago, the town was overrun by a flood. Now, obviously, I was confused about this when he mentioned this, because I always thought, the Fire Nation caused the flood, because obviously everything that happens badly for everybody seems to be Fire Nation. But because he didn't specifically say it was Fire Nation that caused the flood, they just mentioned it was a flood. And I kind of like that, but the Fire Nation's not just absolutely causing, absolutely everything.
Yeah. Well, you ask anybody, what did the Fire Nation do? It's the guy, it's the SpongeBob guy, where it's he burned our crops and poisoned our water. Why he did? No, but are we gonna wait?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's Jet. Jet's he fucking went back in time to flood another.
Yeah. Well, maybe he already flooded a village before then. We don't know how many flooded.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Fucking 10-year-old Jet just sitting in the corner, who could have done that?
I would love it if it's that Earth Kingdom dude that caused that fire.
Yeah. He's oh, you know what? I gotta stop smoking. What? I'm just gonna drink this nice, refreshing glass of water. Oops.
I like how it's a glass of water, by the way, that caused the flood. Nothing else. It's a glass of water. But yeah, so then he mentioned, that they were in a terrible flood, and he ended up losing his wife. And Teo got really hurt doing it, so that's why he's in a wheelchair now. Which I didn't know was because of the flood. I always thought he was just born that way, but it's because of the flood. And he wanted to find a place to so that way his people could live free. And then when he came to this temple, he kind of noticed these flying machines. And I like that Aang called them gliders, the actual name, but he's yes, precisely. And he kind of mentions he kind of saw the gliders and stuff as a chance so that way that his son could still have a normal life and still kind of be able to play with other kids and everything like that. So I kind of like the reasoning for this, for them coming here and basically wanting a better life for his people and his son, and seeing these flying machines, because he's an inventor, gave him the idea so that way his son could be all the other kids and all that type of stuff. So I kind of like that this guy actually had a really good backstory and everything like that. And you get to kind of see how much of an inventor that he is. It's kind of really funny because this really shows the time of Avatar: The Last Airbender takes place in, because the way that he tells the time, ironically enough, as I said, the candle has as they talk about, has a some type of I don't think it's gunpowder, but some type of firepower in there that it will go.
No, gunpowder, or it is gunpowder, but I don't think they have guns, so I don't think they say gunpowder.
Yeah, but I'm calling it gunpowder. So
yeah,
and
it's the universe's equivalent of gunpowder.
Yeah, and it goes off 5 times. And because it went off 5 times, that means it's 5 o'clock. He already knew that, but then he explained it to Sokka. I like this. Sokka's taking an interest in him, which I think makes a lot of sense, because obviously he's kind of about science. Sokka's about science. He's kind of inventors type of thing. So I kind of like that him and Sokka kind of bond. And Sokka's kind of the one that makes all the plans and everything like that. So it makes sense that Sokka would bond with this guy. And
I also they continue that. If you remember, Sokka sends him his ideas for the submarines.
Yeah.
Later on in the show.
Yep. And I didn't know. I forgot this was a joke back then. He mentions that he made like a finger knife sharpener or something like that, and like I guess he said he tried it like 3 times, and like I guess he cut his fingers off 3 times. I thought there was gonna be like a really funny joke where like he actually didn't cut his fingers off. But no, yeah, he cut his fingers off. I didn't realize he didn't.
Like he has like wooden ones. He just like pops them out and like throws it at Sokka.
So, I don't really remember how like this part of the like episode ends. I think like he kind of, because I remember that they all just kind of like separate really. Like I don't really think this has like.
Well, you do miss something where basically he says like oh it's like fuck, that means I gotta go, and then basically Sokka goes with him, and then like Teo continues showing Aang and Katara.
Okay. Yeah, all of this was relatively good. I liked their backstory. I liked that they gave them a backstory about like why they're there. They're not just like there and everything like that. I like that. I
wonder why we're here. Well, life's great mysteries.
This guy would go through the whole story about it. He would just tell everybody why they're there. So, but I like all this. I actually like the mechanics. I think he's got good character motives, and it kind of makes sense why when you find out the big secret later on, it makes sense for like his character to like do that because the big thing is he wants to make a better life for his people and everything like that type of thing.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, you missed something that I do like, where he justifies like what he's doing by saying like that's nature, nature is progress, and like trying to improve our life. And Aang kind of like pauses for a second, and then he says, but nature knows when to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Because he also mentions, like progress has a way of getting away from us. Like, you try to make progress, you have setbacks, you try to make more progress. It's kind of hard to know when to stop and when to continue. And, that's when Aang says, like, nature knows when to stop. Because, again, I think, again, there is kind of a middle ground. And I wish the end of the episode kind of had a little bit more of a middle ground, because at the end of the episode, Aang basically says, like, I'm glad you guys are here. This is your home now, and, do with it what you want. I do wish there was a little bit more of, like, a, make progress, but, like, again, maybe perhaps leave some things intact.
Yeah. Yeah, because I feel like even today in society we're, like, struggling with that, honestly.
Because, it sucks, like, as we're going to find out, there was one part of the temple where they thought it was preserved, and then no, it got like it was not.
Yeah, I feel like too. The comparison I can make about all this is you might know this comparison, you might not, like where my dad lives and everything like that. My dad always tells me like where that market basket is. That was just all woods originally, like when. Our fathers were like kids and everything like that, but now it's like this whole place and everything like that. Like now it's like that whole Plymouth area, like market basket and everything like that. And they just keep building and everything like that. That one,
it is.
That one you could kind of say like it would be nice to stop because like all nothing there from before is like really the same now and everything like that. Like there's no real trails or anything like you can really like walk in that area like before. No real woods anymore. So it's causing all the animals to like leave. So, but they keep progressing and making more stuff. So,
yeah. So like, like Plymouth is a great example because I'm from there, but I haven't lived there since I was 13, and I only go to get to visit every couple of years. So every time I go there, it's like it's like weird seeing how much stuff is different.
Yeah.
I remember. One of my favorite sledding spots as a kid. I went there and they filled it in and like put solar panels there, and that was kind of like a bittersweet, thing to see. But at the same time, Plymouth has plenty of spots where they have houses back from the fucking pilgrims that were there. Those are big like tourist spots, and like they've kind of preserved that. So again, I wish this episode kind of just did that a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's actually something I really like in Legend of Korra, where we see that Aang ends up like training people to be acolytes, like people who aren't airbenders but they like practice airbender culture. Like they dress, they eat, like they do all that, and they end up like reforming the air temples. They fix a lot of damage there, and like people live there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I like that. Again, I wish this episode kind of because again, like I don't think Aang is completely in the right. Like I think it's okay to make some changes. The temple doesn't need to be exactly how it's remembered.
Yeah.
But I do think Aang does have a point of like they basically change everything, and I think at the end of the episode they don't do enough to kind of like make me believe they'll reel that in a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yeah. Because this is like really the only point in the episode where I think they back up what Aang is saying, where it's like, you guys are making too much changes. Maybe reel that in a little bit. But yeah, let me set a timer because now I'm actually going to begin my section. Owen, tell a joke.
Preserve things, in Plymouth, like that Plymouth Rock everyone is dying to go see,
You're not funny. No, I'm kidding. You can continue.
Yeah, that Plymouth Rock, how about that rock? People fly over and then they come over and say like, wow, that's the Plymouth Rock, huh? And you're just like, yep, that's the rock.
We gotta watch Stonado. I don't know. Have you ever seen that movie, Stonado?
No.
It's where there's a tornado and it starts shooting rocks at people. And Plymouth Rock specifically.
Oh, that's funny.
And it ends with them blowing up the tornado.
That's funny.
Yeah, so that's pretty great. Anyway, moving on. So Teo and Aang, when Teo decides like, hey Aang, I want to show you something to kind of maybe cheer you up. And we see it's a door very similar to the one that we see in the Southern Air Temple, the one with all the Avatar statues. And he basically says like, and I like this, that they continued this where, if you remember, Aang had to, use his airbending to open the door. Like it was locked with 3 seals, and you had to like blow air into it.
Yeah.
And we saw a similar thing in the Fire Temple, where you needed firebending to unlock it. And you think like, oh, okay, there's no way they can get to this because remember they tried to use fake firebending to open those doors, and they couldn't. So you think like, oh, it doesn't matter what the mechanics does. Like you can't put fake air into the or open it like the Fire Temple. So we're like, oh, cool, yeah, this one is preserved. Like we wouldn't be able to go in there. And Teo was like, I wanted you to know it's here, but I've always wanted to know what's in here. And I do like this where Katara looks at Aang, and Aang is just like, no, like I'm not going to open it. Like this is the one thing that's the way it was. I want it to stay that way. And Teo, he looks a little disappointed, but he's like, I get it. It's okay. And I do like that, where again, he wants to see what's inside, but he respects Aang and decision to want to leave some part of the temple reserved. And he also tried to cheer for this. On the way there, he picks up a little hermit crab, and he says to Aang that these hermit crabs here, they aren't the ones from 100 years ago, but they're probably the descendants of the ones that were here 100 years ago. So in a way, they inherited it. And I do like it where Aang picks it up and he smiles because Aang, he's been in a pretty bad mood. So I do like Aang genuinely smiling here. That again, even though it's not the ones from 100 years ago, it's they're relatives.
Yeah, I like this. I like that Teo was just trying to cheer Aang up and make him feel better. I do like that Teo had that curiosity. I like that he didn't press Aang to have him go in, have him open that door and everything like that. I like Aang's reason that he doesn't want to open that door because, again, if that door gets open, he's worried that changes will start happening and everything like that type of thing. I just like all this. I kind of like that we're seeing like Aang and Teo like start to like bond a little bit too, doing all this type of thing. I like all this. So yeah, I guess
I think Teo did this because he again he could tell Aang was very upset. I do like him trying to show, hey, again make him feel a little bit.
Yeah, I like this. Yeah, then I guess we have the Sokka stuff.
Yeah. So again, Sokka just kind of flipped somebody off and hang out with the Canis guy. And, the Mechanist, basically, he's going, like, in the caves, presumably, like, beneath it, like, in the mountain. And, they're walking around, and Sokka's, like, he opens up the lantern a little bit, and he realizes it's a firefly, not, like, a flame. And the Mechanist is like, hey, seal that up, we need the light, don't let them out. And then they, check a door. And, they open up the slider, and Sokka's like, why are you showing me an empty? And he basically says that, like, in the mountain, like, beneath the temple, this whole area is filled with natural gas. And, and that's what powers everything, which is how it, is in our real world, which is cool. We use, a lot of things are powered by natural gases, especially early on. And, that makes sense why they use the fireflies instead of, like, flames, because the Mechanist mentions, when he came down here, he had a torch, and it fucking nearly blew his eyebrow. But he, they barely grew back.
Yeah.
Because obviously, having an open flame around natural gas, not a good idea.
Not the best idea, no.
Funny, they do that joke in Ben 10 later on. Ben turns into Swamp Fire, and he's, like, fighting, like, is using fire. Gwen is, Ben, stop, this tunnel's methane. And Ben's like, meth what? And then it's fucking, the whole road explodes.
Oh my gosh.
So that was funny. But yeah, the inventor is saying, like, I came down here because I'm investigating leakage. Like, the natural gas should be all down, but some of it is leaking out. And that's not good, because, this whole place is basically a time bomb. Because, like, obviously if it's leaking out, it can, it can get sparked, and then the whole temple.
Yeah, so I like that he's trying to figure out what the issue of this problem is, and everything like that. And how to find the issue, and everything like that, so.
Yeah, obviously, like, obviously the natural gas smell like, so he's trying to find, air. And they go back to his office where he has, like a model flying machine. And Sokka's, and him are just, talking about the inventions again. Sokka's very impressed by it all. And they do a joke where there's, like, a rotten egg on his desk, and it, like, falls. And he's like, oh, that was last week's lunch. It's gonna stink. We gotta find that egg. And then they realize, oh shit, the stink. There you go. We fill that room with all the natural gas with rotten eggs. The natural gas will mix with the rotten egg smell, and then we just gotta find where the smell is coming from, and then we can plug it up.
Yeah, I like that. I like that they both come into this realization, like, at the same time and everything like that too.
Yeah, I like that. It's kind of like an accident, like, because that's how it is, in life, where you have this problem, and then, like, some kind of thing will make you, oh shit, that's a solution.
Yeah, I like that. Big inventors thing too, where they accidentally cause the invention. I mean, Ben Franklin with electricity is a big one. So
yeah, and I do like how, like you said, they're coming to at the same time, and they.
Yeah. So then, kind of while all of this is happening, Aang and Tio are gonna let Katara fly. And they're kind of teaching her how to fly. Like, Aang's kind of telling Katara, like, just to kind of let the
Sorry, I didn't realize I was just talking. I thought I was.
Yeah, it was too late. So
Yeah.
But yeah. So they kind of training Katara and coaching her up on how to fly, saying, like, let the wind kind of take you, like, kind of learn how to control it. Katara's obviously, like, nervous about it at first, but eventually she goes. And she picks it up pretty quickly. And everyone else is kind of starting to fly and everything like that. They do a funny joke where they tell Katara, like, you know, obviously to keep your mouth closed and don't swallow a bug, and you see Momo flying, you just see like a bunch of bugs around him and everything like that. Which,
yeah, he's loving it. For him, that's
yeah, it's a highlight of his week.
Later on, remember the inventor in a little feature?
Yeah, he does. So then,
Imagine he just
huh?
Imagine he just like filled it with bugs.
Yeah, that'd be funny. So then, you know, he kind of sees like Tio and Aang are having fun. So, Aang kind of, I think he's telling this Katara privately, like, he says, hey, like, maybe I was wrong about Tio. Like, maybe he does have, like, the spirit of an airbender. So then he kind of goes down and he tells Tio, like, hey, like, I've been thinking, like, maybe I will, open that, like, room for you. And I like that Aang kind of came to this himself. He kind of sees that Tio's a pretty cool person. Maybe he's thinking, too, if he just shows Tio, like, Tio wouldn't, like, have any, like, show anybody else. He would, like, preserve it and keep it the way it was, type of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like that Aang came to that conclusion on his own. To, like, Tio. Like, nobody, like, talked him into it. Like, he, on his own. I like that.
And then they do a funny joke where Katara accidentally swallows like a bug, which was funny. So should I just talk about when Aang opens the door then, since you talked about the thing earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then they go to the room. And you know, Aang uses Airbender to open the door. Again, they still put a lot of effect to it. I like that they didn't do as much because we've already seen this already. So I like the fact that it was just kind of something that happened. Because I'm pretty sure there was something in a show we did something like that. Like I think it was Inception. They like showed something in Inception. I'm pretty sure. I'm like, but we already saw this type of thing. Like they try to make it like a big deal, and we already saw it. I don't remember what it was, but I remember Inception was the big outlier of that. Like it was something we already saw type of thing. So, but when he opens the door, it's the mechanic's porn stash. You know, everyone's just so haunted, and not just his porn stash. It's his
Piles of it.
Yeah, no, not just his porn stash. His Kiss Sis mangas, his Kiss Sis animes.
When he said his village was destroyed by a flood, he didn't mean water.
He didn't say what the flood. He didn't say what it was. So,
and just everybody died.
do you think his wife died? Do you think he intended for his wife to die doing that? Or do you think that was just a happy accident?
Yeah, he was like, "All right, sweet, I'm single again. All right."
But no, what's actually in there is it's a bunch of Fire Nation logos that are in there, and he sees weapons that are being in there, and you can kind of get the vibe that he's you know, I don't know what the vibe you would get. Obviously, they tell us, but I assume, like, I think first view when I saw this, I'm like, wait, is he like a Fire Nation like spy, or is he like working with the Fire Nation or something like that? And you know, then when he comes in, and you know, they showed the scene earlier. It was in your section where like an alarm.
Yeah, like a whistle blew in his office. Basically, it's to like let him know somebody's like opening the.
Yeah. And you know, this one for Aang, I think he was really upset, you know, that the temple wasn't being preserved. He was pretty upset about it. This time he's not like completely angry. He's just more in shock about that he sees this. But also for him, like this one, like having a bunch of Fire Nation things around it, probably really upset him at this point.
In the face, Fire Nation like wipes out everyone in the temple, and then this guy opens up their sacred door to fill it with Fire Nation weapons, so the Fire Nation can hurt even more people. Like that is a massive spit in the face. Again,
by the way, we don't. Kayatso probably wiped out everyone in the temple with the amount of effort he put into wiping out the Fire Nation. He probably was the one that wiped out the temple. Honestly, Kayatso probably wiped out the other temple with all the Fire Nation attacks too. You know.
Yeah, he made the rounds, and he's like, "All right, well, on a day's work, it's gonna die."
I don't know why he went back to. I guess he wanted to die at home. I guess so.
Yeah, that cool. He's like, yeah, he fucking went all around the world, wiping out all the firebenders at the temples, and they're like, and he's like, well, I'm too awesome to live, so I guess I'll just, you know, you guys don't deserve to be in my presence.
I assume it was a happy accident. He wiped out all the airbenders by mistake, or.
like sometimes you gotta break a few eggs to make an omelet.
I mean, I guess it's the Katsu thing all over again, right? Where he just wiped out the mountain by accident instead of putting the fire out and everything like that. So,
well, it's like we did it, Patrick. We saved the city. Like he's like, I killed everybody at the temple. Oh, cool! You beat all the Fire Nation. I killed everyone at the temples.
He did.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Abe turns around and, the mechanic tries to come in to explain himself. And Abe's like, you're making weapons for the Fire Nation. That's where it kind of goes to break. But then when it comes back, they kind of do this weird thing when it comes back and like Aang just says it again, like we didn't just hear him say that type of thing. Like it's kind of that, it's always that weird commercial thing when it comes back. They have to like say it again just in case we didn't know when it went to break type of thing. I guess in case you missed it, I guess is like, okay, imagine someone just missed it after that sentence. They left after that sentence and came back and like Aang just said that. It's like, oh, I guess he's making weapons for the Fire Nation.
Aang forgot for a second he has Alzheimer's. He's 112 years old. Come on, give him a break.
I mean, don't forget, Mr. Kiad. No, sorry. Master Roshi did that in. Didn't he do that in one of the Dragon Ball episodes when like Goku showed up? It was like a different shot.
Yeah, like waving, and then the next episode picks up with him seeing him again.
Yeah. So.
Like he saw him, then forgot he saw him, and saw him again.
So he actually explains himself. It's not like he's an evil Fire Nation spy or anything like that. What actually is the case is the Fire Nation ended up finding the temple. And they threatened to burn down the temple, but basically they made a deal where if he offered his services to make weapons, they would leave the temple alone. So I do kind of like his reasoning for it. It kind of reminds you of like the Lando situation where Lando, sold out Han Solo and Leia and like Chewie and everything like that, to save like the city and everything like that, which didn't really work out for him very well. But that's a bad example. Fucking Han Solo gets over that real quickly. So I'm Han Solo.
Yeah, I'm Han Solo. I do love it. He says the same thing. The mechanic's like, this deal's getting worse all the time.
Yeah. I would have loved it, by the way, if like Lando actually wasn't even looking for Han Solo, by the way. He just went, I'm Han Solo. Like, I mean, that's basically what he was doing as the go. Well, I'm Han Solo.
And Lando was pretending to be a guard there for probably a couple weeks, That's what he was hitting the dance floor in Jabba's palace while Han was fucking frozen on the wall.
I love the fact that Jabba would have a song, I'm Han Solo. Oh,
I'm frozen on the wall. I love it.
Yeah, so I do like this where his son's like really disappointed in his dad, like about the fact that really upset that his dad would do this. But I like that you kind of can see why his dad would do this, because I think that the main thing he was thinking about his son. He wanted his son to be safe, and he made this place for his son, and now it's become like a nightmare and everything like that type of thing. So
yeah.
Overall, I thought this part of the episode was like really strong. I really felt bad for this for the mechanics and everything like that. Like he's really in a bad spot, and you really feel for Teo too, because he finds out his dad's like basically helping the Fire Nation like win the war and everything like that. And obviously Aang you really feel bad for here too. So I like that you just basically feel bad for everybody. I really like Sokka's reaction here. It's not really much, but like he was like working with this guy and everything like that. And I think Sokka was the one that was like really upset that he was helping the Fire Nation too.
Sokka just in the background, like having a bad breakup of like, you didn't have to cut me.
But I thought this scene was really strong. It was really upsetting. What did you think of this?
Yeah, again, I feel bad for Sokka. He's going through a bad breakup. Poor man. He's got to. Don't worry, he's gonna get a new episode. So sad. Sokka was so happy to be Teo's new father-in-law or stepdad.
Yeah, be stepdad. So.
Yeah. But yeah, this was a cool reveal again because, like I said, from the previous episodes, you're under the assumption that like they wouldn't be able to get into this door. So for him to not only be able to open, but fill it with the worst thing he possibly could, aside from maybe kiss sis porn, it's truly shitty. But again, I like that they didn't make him like a complete scumbag. Like he's basically his arms twisted here. He's trying to protect his son and like the rest of the people here.
So how do you think he opened the door then? Because obviously, the whole thing.
That is, yeah, because like it is weird. I guess he just kind of kept trying. I don't know. He just made something to like mimic airbending. I guess he just got a leaf blower. He just stuck 2 leaf blowers in there to fucking open it up.
Maybe that's what happened to. Maybe remember Roshi said he sold the fan. Maybe that's why he or like.
Yeah, he threw it out because he got like soup on it. And this guy just was dumpster diving. It's like, oh hey, maybe I'll just. Oh, that worked. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I do have to question how he opened the.
I love it if like Master Roshi pointed at the wrong mountain. He fucking blew up this mountain. Oh fuck! That was not the right mountain. I meant that one. That one over there.
I'm pretty sure that was a joke in something recently too, where they just when they were supposed to destroy something, they destroyed the wrong thing. So, but yeah, then they go into his office, and Aang kind of wants to know like, when the Fire Nation's coming, and the mechanic says that they come once a week, and Aang says like, you know.
Well, I don't think he says. I think he just says like they're coming soon.
Yeah, and Teo's upset. Like he's even saying to his dad, like, "How can I be proud of your inventions if they're being used to hurt people?" And
he says murder, and I'm kind of surprised about that. Because a lot of kids' cartoons have to like, they can have, they kind of have to not use that word. Like I know in Danny Phantom, whenever they talk about killing somebody, they say like waste them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they might not even be able to use that one now. I think was it GTA probably ruined that because isn't that what happens when you die in GTA? So
yeah.
Again,
I'm just surprised they were able to say murder.
Yeah.
Which again, they should be. This isn't fucking Weenie Hut Juniors. Kids can handle, words like that. Like, chill out.
Yeah. And then the mechanist though. Eventually, it's time for the Fire Nation to show up. So he tells him to like the mechanist is trying to get them to leave because obviously he's probably thinking if he sees the Avatar, then it would get much worse, type of thing. But instead, he just tells them to hide. The Fire Nation general shows up. There's some random guy, random general.
Owen, he has a name. It's good old Formation General.
That's right, Formation General, because in my notes, for some reason, I went to write Fire Nation General, and it changed to Formation General for some reason. So he's Formation General. What does that mean, AJ? I don't know. He's a Formation General, apparently. So
he's one of the only people in Avatar to have a last name. He's General Formation General.
Yep. So, and this guy is definitely like a smiling, twirling, evil villain where he comes over. It's like, okay, give me what you owe us. Obviously, this time, the mechanist is obviously hesitating and everything like that. And this guy is just like, what the hell? Are you going to keep me? Are you just going to keep me waiting? This guy was literally waiting for like 5 seconds and like,
yeah.
He just, hey, be happy it wasn't like Zhao that was over there. Imagine if he had to wait more than 5 seconds. It's not,
He's like, it's been 3 whole seconds since I punched a child in the face. It's been 4.
This way, he wouldn't qualify though. He's not a child, the mechanist. He wouldn't qualify.
Yeah, he's like, all right, take me to your crippled son. I'll punch him in the face.
Good that there wasn't the Emperor from Star Wars here though. He wouldn't want to waited that long. So,
yeah.
But
giving.
But yeah, so the mechanist is about to take him to the weapon room. I don't know. I assume Aang tried closing the door. Maybe he's like, oh, maybe they can't get in if the door's closed, type of thing. But who knows? But then Aang, airbends the table in the way and shuts the door. And he shows up, and he's like, the deal's off. And the general's obviously shocked to see the Avatar there. And Aang, tells him like to get out of here, pretty much like you're leaving empty-handed. And the general's like really pissed. He's like, give me what you are, so we'll burn your temple to the ground. Doesn't care that he just saw the Avatar.
I know, Avatar's here, and he's still like, nah, give me.
Yeah. I would like to think. I noticed. I don't think. I think this guy broke a rule. He didn't. He was supposed to report this to Zhao. I don't think this guy reported this to Zhao. I think.
Again, I would love it if, like, he sees, the mechanist actually does give him weapons, and he's like, oh, okay, cool. See you around, Avatar. Bye. Have a good day.
Just chills out. This double salute. This like, yep. I got what I came here for. But no. Aang forces this guy to leave. I do think Aang. I like the fact that he stepped in here. You could say this was a bit rash, but this made sense. I think Aang just got sick and tired of seeing that the fact that his temple is being used to hurt people and everything like that was the last straw for him. And I think Aang was obviously being rash. He just didn't want to. He just couldn't. I can understand why he wouldn't want to sit by and just watch them just leave with weapons and everything like that type of thing.
Yeah.
So, and yeah,
because the mechanic didn't agree to stop. He just basically said, like, I need time to think. And then, I'm like, I could definitely buy the Aang is like, no, this guy's gonna keep doing it. Like, I gotta put a stop to this, like, now.
Yeah. So, so the guy leaves. Is like, all right, the destruction of this.
I kind of wish that was actually maybe like a thing. Is that like Aang never really likes this guy?
Mm-hmm.
That would have been cool, because again, like, not every episode needs to end with them like being buddies. Actually, Justice League did a good job with that, where Hawk Girl and Wonder Woman don't really like each other, and then they have an episode where they like go to Hades and team up and save the day. And at the end of the episode, they're basically like, we're oil and water. Like, we're good together, but we don't mix. Is kind of the thing. Like, they're not really friends, but they kind of have like a respect for each other.
Wizard of Waverly. I mean, it was kind of a joke, but Wizard of Waverly Place did this where it's the finale where like Mason and I think it's Bridget Miller, like the person from Good Luck Charlie character, like they saw each other again, and they're like, "Wow, the last time."
Yeah, I know, like Mason in like the finale.
Yeah, like they mentioned like the last time we saw each other, like you basically like you turned me into an old lady and I turned you into a wolf, and like they kind of just like
And they're like, no hard feelings, right? And like, no.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Walking Dead has a few episodes like that where like the main group, not all the characters like get along, and some of them stick around for a while, where they just never get over it type of thing. I'm trying to think of I don't think Breaking Bad has a moment like that, really, right? I think everyone. I mean, I guess Mike and Walt would be the closest, then I guess.
Well, I was gonna say like Walt and Jesse in the end. They kind of like make up as much as they could, but like they weren't really buddies at the end.
I mean, you could just say Walt with everybody, I guess, at the end.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, I was just saying, like, I feel like this guy has done too much damage, and like, again, basically the only reason he even stopped giving Fire Nation weapons is like Aang basically made him stop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would have liked that if Aang was basically like, yeah, you get, like, I don't hate you, but like we're not cool. Like I don't really want to like, yeah.
Yeah, that would have been fine.
And Ken kind of does this where this guy basically tricks Ben into like almost feeding a baby to this guy.
Oh my gosh.
And then at the end of the episode, Ben is basically like, I like never talk to me again, and we just like never see that guy.
That's a really dark one, actually.
Yeah. So I kind of really like that then if Aang, because like, I feel like this guy again, he basically like he doesn't, in my mind, he doesn't make up for all the bad things he did. Because like we said, like this guy's basically been feeding the Fire Nation weapons. He's gotten God knows how many people killed.
Yeah, probably. But yeah, that's it. They said they're gonna blow the temple down. I liked all this stuff, and then I'll just take the next scene, I guess, because it's a quick scene.
Yeah.
Team Avatar kind of decided, because obviously they're worried now that the Fire Nation is going to show up and destroy the temple, and they have like a bunch of weapons. They're probably going to use all the weapons that like they gave him, and like he's been giving them and everything like that. So Aang's like, well, we have something that the Fire Nation don't, and that's air travel, pretty much. So they're basically going to take the fight to the sky, since the Fire Nation doesn't really have any weapons or anything like that where they can use to fly. And then the mechanist comes up and says that he wants to help. And they just kind of forgive him. They're just cool with him, the fact that he wants to help now. It's like, yeah, you're the reason we're kind of in this mess, dude, but sure, you could help. That's fine.
Yeah, why not?
So I like this. They have they meet in a war room, and Sokka and the mechanist.
It's a clip I saw on YouTube. He's the best guy around. What about all the people? What murder? Guy with a very Italian accent.
But yeah, so I think this was in the soccer seeds. This guy mentioned that he was trying to figure out how to get the air balloon like working. So eventually, he decides. Saka came up with a solution, and that's just to put like a lid basically on the air balloons. Obviously, because before that it was just like obviously like it would just consume air, and there would be no way for really to control the air balloon. But also at the same time, you wouldn't really have much fuel, so we're just gonna put like an open lid on it. I like how it was like such a simple solution, but like it makes sense that they wouldn't be able to come to that simple solution immediately. I think Saka coming in there and coming into that simple solution, and I thought it was just a funny joke. Like they were trying to come up with a solution, then Saka just came up with one and everything like that, which is pretty cool. And but obviously it's gonna take time for like the inventor and Saka to like make this. So obviously they're gonna stick by and they're gonna try to work on this air balloon like as quickly as they can. But obviously everyone else will just kind of hold them off until then. And also they said that they're gonna make they have a lot of bombs that they're gonna give them and everything like that. I know it was bombs all the time, but for some reason when I watched it the last time, I heard bombs. I'm like, oh, so they're gonna do some smoking, like smoke some weed. Like, wow, I didn't know it was going there. But
Oh, sorry, real quick about the hot air balloon. Again, I like that they're like actually explaining the science behind it, and I do like that later on, like like when they get to the boiling rock with the air balloon. Because remember if they say like the hot air balloon, they like have it's hot air, and then they like occasionally release a little bit of it here and there. Later on, the hot air balloon gets fucked up, like they can't fly properly because all the air around the balloon is hot because of the.
Yeah, that makes sense. So,
yeah.
But
I like that they're very consistent on like how it works.
Yeah, but I liked all this. It was cool to see this for the first time. And I like the fact that they were making up a plan and they were going to basically see if they could use this to advantage, because this is something that the Fire Nation can't do that like everybody else can do. So I like this. What'd you think of all this? And then I'll let you talk.
It's good. I like it. There you go. That's my thoughts. So
now we talk about the fight.
Yeah. So the fight begins. And the Fire Nation. This is cool. This is our we're not there yet, but the Fire Nation army is marching up the sides of the slope of the mountain, and people are flying in on their gliders. They're releasing goo bombs essentially to just like make people stick to the ground, and they're like flying all around them, knocking them off the side. Aang is 100% fucking killing people here because at one point he hops on his air scooter and again rides along the side and like is knocking all the snow down. And there's like people all ledge after ledge getting fucking hit in this avalanche, getting fucking smacked down the mountain. Like Aang, those people died. Those people 100% fucking died.
Yeah, for sure.
I love it as Aang is making these people fall to their death. Aang is just screaming, "No killing! I don't kill people. They're fine."
He's like, I didn't kill these people. The avalanche killed these people.
Gravity did, yeah. It's like I didn't kill these people. The fucking bullet from my gun killed them.
Yep.
But I like that we're seeing these background people also contribute. It's not just the main character. And we see this. This is cool. Because all the people are getting fucked up, and then we see tanks. And you might be saying like, "Hey, random guy on YouTube, how are these tanks going up this mountain? They have these fucking cool ass like chains shooting up, to like basically scale the mountainside,
kind of like a grappling hook."
Yeah. And then Aang is trying to like knock these grappling hooks off the mountain to make the fucking people on the side go tumbling down, which totally wouldn't kill them. But they start to fall, and then another grappling hook just shoots up, and they're trying to like knock over the tanks, but basically whenever they get knocked over, they kind of just like flip around, so like you can't really like knock them over. Is essentially how it works.
Mm-hmm.
We find out the mechanist did it, and basically he used water to like equal it out, like equilibrium. Like whenever they get knocked on their side, they like flip over. And Katara's like, "Oh shit, water? Okay, well, fucking, why didn't you say so?" So she gets down to near these tanks and basically uses all the snow and ice to like freeze it, and the tanks aren't able to use the water to like balance out, so they get stuck that way.
Yeah, that was cool. I like that. I did like to the Katara before that also was because she was flying on Appa. She was basically like giving everyone like new ammo and everything like that. So I did like that before that she was like contributing to the fight that way and everything like that too.
Yeah. And like again, I do like at one point like a grappling hook gets shot at Aang, and he like wraps it around his staff and like down. That was just like in the background, but like I was like, oh, that's cool fight.
Yeah, I like that. I like that was in the back. Kind of like that was in the background too. It, like just kind of shows that there was other stuff going on, like and everything like that.
Because in Return of the Jedi, I bitched and moaned a little bit how like if you really pay attention to what's going on, a lot of the fight is like weird. But like it looks cool in a first viewing, but when you kind of like go back and pay attention to what everybody's doing, it's like they didn't really plan this out that well.
Yeah. And again, I like that everyone's contributed to the fight. Like Aang's contributed, Katara's contributed, Tio's contributed, and like all the background characters are even contributing, like throwing bombs and everything like that, which is good.
Yeah, and like I said, I like that the goo is like slowing them down. But basically, like, there's too many of them. Like they can't beat them all. So Sokka and Rain and Mechanist guy doesn't have a fucking name. Show up to save the day. They're on their balloon. And they're like, "Huh, why is nobody shooting at us?" And they're like, "Oh, we have the Fire Nation symbol." Like they think we're on their side. And so begins Sokka's many war crimes. Fucking pretending to be the on the same side just to fucking friendly fire them.
He commits his crime like twice, by the way, too. He does it in Boiling Rock, so
he does it a lot. And fucking Owen, and he ends up using fucking chemical and gas weapons in this fight. It's like the fucking mustard gas. It's like Sokka's like what's it called? Geneva Convention? Never heard of it. Really nice place. Maybe I'll vacation there. Man, fucking, we need to get Sokka on trial for.
So we can officially make that list because this is his first war crime he's committed. So
yeah, first of many. We're so proud of you, Sokka. But yeah, they end up launching. They cut up the ropes, releasing the big bags of like goo to again slow down the tanks and like immobilize them, break them. So they can't continue their pursuit up the mountain, but they run out because they only had like 4. And they're like, "Yeah, that's it, we're out." But again, there's just still too many of them. We can't like slow the pursuit. And then this is convenient. Where they're flying and they realize, like, "Hey, we smell rotten eggs." Like, "Oh shit, that's the rotten eggs we planted in the gas." So like, the leak is right down there. So Sokka, I like that Sokka's the one actually this idea, not the Mechanist.
Yeah.
Again, showing how smart and ingenuitive he is. Because again, the Mechanist is like he's the inventor, like he's the one who's actually good at building this shit. But I like that Sokka is like the planner, like he's the one with like he's the idea guy.
I like that a lot, yeah.
Because again, like later on the submarine, the guy is actually the one to build it, but it was like Sokka's like the one with the idea.
Yeah.
Or Sokka's like, "All right, we only got one bomb left, our engine. So basically, like we're gonna fucking crash our ship, but we're gonna use our engine to like ignite all the natural gas." So they end up like dismantling the engine from the blimp and like push it over, knock it into the cavern where the natural gas is coming from, and they just fucking blow up the mountain. Well, again, I like how the Mechanist said, like, "Listen, fucking if this shit gets ignited, the temple will fucking be blown off the mountain." I guess he was wrong because the temple is perfectly fucking fine.
Yeah. So
I was gonna say that's a little dumb that this big ass explosion happens and temple's fine. Everybody's fine.
Yeah, that was really weird. Yeah. But
and they literally say like, "Oh look, everybody's retreating," and it's like, "Oh, and this explosion is fucking massive." All right. Gyatso would be impressed how many fucking Fire Nation soldiers this would have killed.
Yeah, I think he would have. Yeah. Yeah, I like this.
They were saying maybe Momo is Gyatso's reincarnation. It's actually Sokka.
Yeah, that could be. So, oh yeah, but there's one more thing that happens, and then I would give my thoughts on the fight.
Yeah. Basically, the big fuck off explosion is causes the Fire Nation to retreat. But obviously because they lost their power supply, the blimp starts going down, and then Aang flies after them, and then with like some rope. Oh no, he just flies after them, and like Sokka attaches some rope to his boomerang, and like throws it at Aang, wraps it around his glider, and they're able to get out of the blimp in time and like get saved. But the blimp ends up continuing to crash down the mountain, and they're like, that's fine, it's all good, that's never gonna be an issue for us.
No, never. But yeah, I like this whole fight. I like the fact that we got to see like some stuff up in the sky. We never really get to see that in Avatar. I liked the tanks. They were a cool invention. Again, I like that everyone's contributed to the fight. I love Sokka coming in at the end of the day. He was actually like the big one that came in at the end to make the save. Usually that's not a big Sokka thing in Avatar, so that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I love that. That like Sokka's the one to save the day because he gets shit on a little. I get his comic relief. But I like that this episode really showed his chops. Where he's the one to like come up with he comes up with the idea to find out where the natural gas is leaking from. He ends up like helping him solve how to get the air balloon up and running. He's the one to fucking again like cause the explosion which killed probably hundreds of fucking Fire Nation soldiers.
Yeah, so
and fucking count begins.
But yeah, that explosion totally should have killed people or like destroyed the temple, something. The fact that everyone just kind of fucked off, that was weird. But
yeah.
But yeah, this fight was good,
established that like if we gotta plug up the leak because it can blow up the whole temple. That's literally how they establish it. So when their solution is like, oh, let's fucking save the temple by blowing up the thing that would blow up the temple.
Yeah, but
I'm like, we did it, Patrick. We saved the city.
But yeah, but overall, I like the fight overall. I wish because we don't get to see a lot of stuff like air stuff up in the sky, so this was cool. But let's get to the end of the episode. So, the end of the episode, everyone's kind of happy. They fought. They ran off the Fire Nation, and it kind of tells everyone like I thought about what you guys said, and it's like the critters here, like they're the ancestors, and you guys are making improvements, and that's just what nature is and everything like that. And he says that he's really happy they found him. Again, kind of wish they would have found a middle ground. I kind of like that Aang does show the approval that he actually, he kind of opens up to them a little bit and like says it and appreciates them being there. But I kind of wish again they would have found a middle ground where Aang could have said like, yes, but let's preserve the people, like get that Fire Nation shit out of there type of thing. But whatever. And then Sokka kind of does this Hara speech saying like, we won this battle today, and if we can continue to have days like this, and with the air power, the Fire Nation's never going to see us coming. But then, I never caught this before. The mechanist has like this worried look on his face, type of thing. Like he knows something that Sokka doesn't know, and all that type of stuff. And when it cuts, the Fire Nation general, it says like, we're going to use this loss today for as a sacrifice to get several many victories. And what you see is they're, they found the war balloon and they're starting to add fire to the war balloon to make it like inflate. So
basically, they're gonna take this fire balloon back to their labs, get their own like scientists to like replicate it and like mass produce it. Is like what the implication is.
Yeah, kind of wish instead of
Kasaka was giving that speech of like, we've got the power of flight on our side, like the Fire Nation doesn't stand a chance, but now it's like, the Fire Nation is going to be able to, get air power.
Yeah. Kind of wish instead of this Gemmo kind of coming here, like the end of the episode could have been like a Zhao or like a Zuko coming in. Probably Zhao would have made more sense and like saying like, yeah, let's get this back and like work on this type of thing instead of this like, because I don't think we ever see this guy again or everything like that. So it's like,
and again, considering he's the guy who essentially like was able to mass produce fucking flying, it's like that's a pretty big deal. We just fucking never see him again. He fucks off.
Yeah. But again, I always forgot about this. I always thought the Fire Nation always could do this. I kind of forgot that that basically this is what causes the war balloons to get made and everything like that. I think it's pretty cool.
Because it ends up being, because we talked about it, like, oh, this is a big episode. But I'm like, in hindsight, like, this is kind of like a bigger deal than the Deserter, because Jong kind of just fucks off.
Yeah.
He shows up like after this. But this is like, a big part of the finale is like the fleet of warballoons, and that's like a big thing at in Day of Black Sun is like the warp balloon showing up.
Yep. So, that's the end of the episode. Anything you want to say about the ending before we do letter grades and everything like that? I like the ending. I like the fact that it ended with, the Fire Nation looks like they're defeated, but like it looks like they're gonna have like this big comeback and everything like that. So I like that.
Yeah, again, I like that. That's a really good way of, like, they won the Fire Nation. Like you say, they took this loss and are going to be able to like turn it into many victories in the future, which they did, which is cool. So I like that it wasn't a complete victory. It's like, and they don't even. Again, I like the Sokka and the Inventor kind of bonding over the science. And again, it's a good episode for Sokka, even though he's not really a focus of the episode. They just did a good job of like showing his positives and like how he's contributes to the team. Again, I like Aang and Teo kind of bonding. We got to see a good amount of the Air Temple, which I like.
Yeah.
I like the message of like, the Air Temple, like, they were able to bring new life into it and then, make it their home. Take this empty shell and do something with it. But again, I just wish they kind of had a middle ground. And like saying like, hey, progress is good, but maybe like reel it in a little bit because you're like destroying my people's like, what remains of my culture. Wish they kind of reeled that in a little bit.
Yeah.
And again, I wish them kind of answered for his crimes a little bit because again, he probably caused God knows how many people have died. From like he's been providing the Fire Nation with weapons for years.
Yeah, for sure.
So again, I wish that we got a little bit of conflict with that. Be a good episode overall. I give it like a B, a solid B.
Yeah, I agree. I think a solid B. Should this episode a bit better because this ends up being the last episode before they go to the North Pole, maybe. But it's still a solid episode. I liked Aang's bond with Teo. I kind of liked that. Progress versus like preservation. I just kind of wish they would have ended, met in the middle there. The mechanist I thought was a decent character. I thought he was good. I like that this is a big kind of a showing Sokka's positives episode. I just like too that we got to see like some stuff in the sky. We don't really get to see that a lot in Avatar, so that was cool. We got to see that. I like the fight in this episode. It's a really good final fight. And again, I like the ending where like it looks like the Fire Nation's defeated, but then they're gonna use this as like many victories and everything like that.
Yeah, and like I like that everybody contributed. Because in Return of the Jedi, I complained about that. That like in the on the Tatooine fight, like it was doing like 90% of like everything. Like he was fucking hard carrying.
Yeah.
Whereas here, like Aang, Katara, Sokka, Teo, like all the background characters, it really felt like everybody pulled the weight.
But yeah, I'm gonna give this a B. But yeah, that is it. We are officially gonna be at the North Pole the next episode. So I look forward to that. But yeah, let's end this off. Let's do some plugs and promotion. I know what the answer's gonna be, but I still gotta ask, man. Is there anything you want to plug or promote? Like anything at all?
Fuck no. At work, it takes up too much of my time, man. I've been fucking playing video games and working in my life.
Obviously, we have some stuff to check out on this channel. Let me actually pull up that doc. I'll just read that. Let me find it. Okay. So the next few videos, oh, that's not it. That's the Avatar notes. It brought me to the Avatar notes for some reason. So that's fun. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So the next few videos, this has been, I'm just gonna read the record dates. I don't know when they'll be up, but, Friday, June 5th, 2026, AJ and I are going to record Lucky Girl. I'll probably have that up the next day. And then Monday, June 8th, 2026, AJ and I are going to record, the penultimate Ben 10 episodes before the finale. Tuesday, June 9th, 2026, AJ and I are going to record Ben 10 Season 1 finale, which is going to be a big episode for us. And then Monday, January 15th, 2026, AJ and I are going to record the Waterbed and Master Review, the episode where the Avatar first gets to the North Pole. And then Tuesday, June 16th, 2026, not 2024, according to this, it's 2026. AJ and I are going to do Avatar, the last episode of Season 1. And then Monday, June 22nd, and also Tuesday, June 23rd, AJ and I are going to finally record the second Evil Dead movie review. And then Monday, June 29th, and Tuesday, June 30th, AJ and I are going to do the next Evil Dead movie, Army of Darkness, finishing the original Evil Dead trilogy. And somewhere in between there or either after that, AJ and I are going to do channel update videos since we'll be halfway through the year. I know I just threw a lot at you right there. I'm not going to repeat any of that because that's just a mouthful of itself. But AJ have a lot of really exciting stuff. It's going to be a big could be.
Listen, I didn't even expect you to say all that.
Yeah, but it's gonna be a big month for us. We're gonna finish seasons 1 of 2 of the shows that we've been working on and finish our movie trilogy again. So this, and again, it's looking like Yellow Jackets isn't coming back. So AJ and I could have a very big 2026. So that's awesome. So that's pretty much it, guys, and we will talk to you guys later.
Bye.